Welcome to NDTR Spotlight, a show where we highlight former and current NDTRs. An NDTR, if you don't know, stands for Nutritionist Diet Technician Registered. They also go by the credential DTR, which stands for Diet Technician Registered. In order to become an NDTR, you have to graduate from an accredited program, take an exam, and participate in continual education. Welcome to NDTR Spotlight. I'm your host, Marie Lorraine. Today's guest, I am super excited about. She has 15,000 followers on Instagram, and she's graced our presence today. She has an associate's degree from Columbia State Community College and a bachelor's degree in human nutrition from the Ohio State University. She's currently a DTR and in pursuit of her RD credential. She is a self-employed nutrition consultant, and her Instagram handle is celiac dietitian. If you don't know that Instagram, you need to go find it and follow it now after you watch the interview, of course. So Taylor, how are you? Thanks for being here.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So let's get into this. Why did you become a diet technician?
So I went the non-traditional route for becoming a dietetic technician registered, but I was researching becoming a registered dietitian, and the internship application process scared the crap out of me. I was watching people say that there was a 50% match rate and it was super competitive, and I was really scared that I wasn't going to get matched. So I decided to go to school to become a dietetic technician registered, so that I could build up my resume for when I applied for a dietetic internship to become a dietitian. So that's really why I did it.
I like that I've heard the match rate it's hard applying for the dietetic internship. So that's so smart that you're able to use that to, get really good experience before you applied. So with that kind of idea, how did you find are you currently doing your dietetic internship now?
Yes. Yeah.
So how did you find the program, and how was the application process for you for getting into your internship?
So, when I transferred to Ohio State for my bachelor's degree, they had a class, which apparently not everyone gets this class, but they had a class dedicated to the whole internship application process. So they had a class dedicated to making your application for DICUS. So our assignments were writing our personal statements, looking for internships, researching internships, contacting internships. So when I was applying, I knew that I had 2 years of dietetic technician registered experience, and so I really wanted to find an internship that would accept prior learning experience so I could get a reduction in hours. And I also knew that I wanted an internship that would kind of help me further elevate my business. So I was really looking for internships that would do both. So I just kind of looked them up. There's All Access Internships has a free mass document of dietetic internships that are available. So that's really what I used to research. Yeah.
Oh, that's really a whole class I wish I had that undergrad.
Yeah.
So helpful. So you had 2 years. What did you do in those 2 years with your DTR credential?
So first of all, when I graduated, I knew I wanted a job, but I could not find one. I applied to 30 jobs, and I could not get one. And then randomly some consultant company hired me to be a DTR in their long-term care facilities. So that was my first job right out of college. I was in charge of doing quarterly, annual nutrition assessments, and then I did their dialysis monthly nutrition assessments. I did wound assessments, weight loss assessments, and I was basically in the facility by myself, aside from the dietitian coming down once a month. And of course they reviewed my chart notes because I'm not allowed to do anything by myself, but that's what I did. And I did that for an entire year. So I did that my first year of my bachelor's degree in nutrition. And then while I was doing that, I was starting to build my Instagram page, and I was trying to start blogging and figuring out what I wanted to do on my own, because I've always known that I wanted to start my own private practice. So I was just kind of trying to figure out what I could do. And while I was doing that, I was reaching out to food brands to try their products, and some of them asked me to start managing their social media. So I started consulting for them, taking food photos for them, developing recipes for them. And then that branched out into consulting for different companies on developing recipes and analyzing recipes for nutrition facts. And there was a company in Australia that I analyzed like 1,500 recipes for to convert them into American like terms. So it's been a journey. I've done a lot of things. So yeah.
Wow, that sounds like it 1,500 recipes. That's a lot of
It
numbers.
was very difficult and very boring, and I had to bribe myself to do it. It's hard.
Yeah. Yes. So you brought up your social media. So your name is Celiac Dietitian, and I know on your
Yes.
website you kind of talk about the process in picking out that name. Can you kind of discuss that now with us?
Yeah, so actually while we're recording this, it is almost the time for Fancy. And so a year ago, I attended Fancy, or maybe it was 2 years ago. I'm not sure how long I've had this handle. I think it was a year ago. I don't know. I attended Fancy and I went to a nutrition entrepreneurs like meeting, and there was a woman there who was like, you should change your handle to Celiac Dietitian, because I was talking to her about my plans and my goals to work in the celiac disease community. And I was like, isn't that kind of like not right since I'm not a dietitian? And she was like, no, just like be super clear about it. Be super clear that you're a dietetic technician registered, studying to be a dietitian. And then I reached out to a bunch of other dietitians to get their opinions on it. And I looked up like the laws on like fictitious names or like handles like that. And I couldn't find anything that said that I couldn't. And so I took the handle, and I've been very transparent about it. I did run into some issues when I was applying for dietetic internships. One of the internship directors told me that I had to take all of my social media down. But then I was like not gonna do it. I was like, no. I like rebutted. So I did like a ton more research. I contacted the Ohio medical board. And I was like, am I violating anything? Is this okay? I contacted the code of ethics. No, yeah. What is it? The board of ethics for the dietetic dietetic
I know what you're talking about. I don't know. I know it's ethics something, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, the ethics committee,
Maybe.
The ethics committee. I don't know. I contacted some people at the academy, and I was like, hey, am I doing anything wrong? And they were like, we can't give you an answer unless someone reports you. And I'm like, should I report myself just to get like a finding? Like, I just want to know, am I doing it? Like, I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. Yeah. I've been like, every time I do a video, I'm like, I am a dietetic technician registered, and all of my posts underneath it says DTR. So that's my handle.
Wow, I love your conscience. You're so thorough and like, it's okay. And I love that you didn't, like, you still used it even though you're a DTR. So you're like, you're progressing in your career as a DTR towards your goal. So I know a lot of nutrition students and just nutritionists, dietitians, dietechnicians, they always make a second Instagram page and it's like all their food things. But it's not really focused. How did you choose to focus on celiac disease?
Yeah, so I used to have my page used to be Tayler Silfverduk, and it used to just be like a bunch of randomness. And I during my time at Columbus State, I was a part of their social media team, and I was just kind of exploring like what I like to post about, and I really found myself really enjoying spreading awareness about celiac disease because I was just finding that people were really unaware. And so as I started doing that, I just kind of like fell in love with it, and I fell in love with like connecting with the community, that like it just kind of ended up happening. And I think it's really important to have like a professional social media presence, and a lot of people feel the pressure to niche down. But I think one of the things that really helped me find my niche was not putting that pressure on myself and kind of letting myself explore all of those different avenues of content and all of those different ideas, and really finding what really stuck with me and really resonated with me. Because I did not go into dietetics initially thinking I was going to only work with the celiac disease population. And I don't think I'll only work with that population now, but it is a passion of mine, and I do really want to be a huge participant in that space. So
Yeah, I think I love I like what you put on your page. It's like informative, and it's like I'm like following it, so I know how to handle celiac patients. I'm like, oh, this product, I found it on this page. So it's really
yeah,
helpful, even for professionals, not just people who are like trying to learn
yeah,
more.
it's awesome.
Thank you for doing that. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
And it's unpaid.
Yeah. Yeah. So so you do nutrition consulting. Does your Instagram page help you with you get revenue at all from it? Or how do you make it worth your time? Or is it just like all volunteer?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. So I think a lot of people want to go down the influencer route, and I have done some paid posts, and of course I welcome them.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a way that you can make money off of your page. But another way that I've made money off of it is I found my social media clients through it. So I work with a local dietitian, and I manage her social media. And the few food companies that I manage their social media, they found me through Instagram too. So I reached out. I was like, hey, this is what I do. I took some pictures of their food, and they were like, do you want to do this for us full time? And I was like, sure. So it's really opened the door for me as a social media manager or nutrition media consultant.
So you have to put yourself out there and make your own connections, and then
Yes.
your client base up. Okay.
Yes. And I'm hoping, my hope is that when I finally become a registered dietitian, it'll be a platform that I'm able to market my services off of too.
Yeah. So I think it's really interesting. So as a DTR, we're always supposed to have a dietitian over us.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing your nutrition coaching, right? And but you have a dietitian, or how's that work? How does that work? Because you said you're working with a dietitian. How does that work? Can you explain that?
Yes. Yeah. So I actually haven't taken any clients with her yet. That's something that we played around with. And if I do get a client, then I can take them through her.
Mm-hmm.
So I found a local dietitian near me. I like kind of interned with her during my DTR education. And I was like, hey, this is what a DTR can do. So I can counsel clients underneath you with your supervision. In Ohio, so it's something you have to check your state licensure laws on. In Ohio, she can add me to her license, and then I can see clients underneath her under her scope. So, and I think that's something that's a little bit different about the route that I took to become a DTR and like graduating with a bachelor's degree. Because I went to school to be a dietetic technician registered, I actually had to complete an internship for it. So I had to do 480 hours of supervised practice.
Mm-hmm.
So I had experience counseling people. I had experience going into hospital rooms and educating people. I had experience with calculating tube feeds, all of those things. So I went in like saying, hey, I have all this experience. These are this is how I'm confident. Can I work with you? So she said yes. But I've struggled with seeing clients under her only because of the cost. It's kind of expensive. So I haven't really been promoting it too much because I want to offer services that are affordable and accessible.
I hear that, but I think that's a really cool avenue that I have not heard of for DTRs to connect with a dietitian. Like as our dietitian credential gets harder to get in your DTR, that might be a way to get some work or experience.
Yeah, that's one of the things I did when I first graduated was I emailed all of the local private practice dietitians in my area. And I was like, hey, I don't know if you know what a dietetic technician registered is, but here is all that I can do under your supervision. So if you want to add somebody to your practice and pay them a lot less, I'm your girl. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to pay me dietitian salary. So, but I can do everything a dietitian can do as long as you deem me competent. So, like, let's build that relationship.
You have such an entrepreneurial spirit. I love it.
Yeah.
So so you have sounds like you've made a lot of connections. You've done a lot of networking. And I know that you're a member of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. Has that at all helped you in your connections and networking?
So yes, I was a student liaison for my school at Columbus State, and then I transferred to OSU and became a student liaison for OSU there. And somehow I caught the attention of somebody, and I was asked to be a student representative on the student advisory committee for the for the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. And then from there, I was the delegate at large for students for the House of Delegates. So that really helped me network, just kind of getting involved with the Academy as a volunteer. It helped me meet a lot of people that I would have never met outside of that. And becoming a student liaison for the Academy gave me access to students all over the country, and allowed me to communicate with them and share with them what I was experiencing and what they're experiencing. I mean, it was really invaluable. I think that was probably one of the best volunteer experiences that I got. So I guess my advice is, if you're watching this and you're not a dietetic technician, like if you're in school still, go join the Academy and become a student liaison, because you can get a lot of experience from that. And you can also volunteer with Ascend. You can volunteer with a couple of other places with the Academy, and you can get tons of experience. And really, I think the networking from it alone is the most invaluable part.
Yeah. Wow. That's a good plug for the Academy. I love.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Academy has some things they need to work through. Yeah. They're definitely not, they're not handling the whole diversity conversation well. And I definitely think there's a lot of room for improvement, and I'm not happy with how they're handling the conversation. But it is a great way to get connected with other people in the dietetic space, especially as a student when you don't have many other avenues of connection.
Yeah. Well,
plus I think there's the Diversify Dietetics DPG, yeah. And I'm pretty sure that's pretty invaluable, especially if you're a person of color.
On that note of diversity, do you have anything to say about that? It sounds like you do. Or how do you interpret that? What are your thoughts on that?
As a profession, we have a lot of work to do. We are based on our foundation is based on very racist ideas. The whole all of diet culture is pretty based on racist ideas, and I think that there's a lot of work as professionals that we have to do, and there's a lot of work as a profession that we have to do.
Okay.
I'm not sure that the Academy is doing it.
Yeah. I don't know. I have to look into what they're doing specifically for that. But can you elaborate on like the diets that are racist, or the foundation that's based on that?
So I've been I'm not an expert by any means, but I've been reading. Like I know like very minimal. Like I'm not the person to like come to with these questions, but I will say I've been reading the book, and now I have to. Okay, yes, it's called Fearing the Black Body: The Racial Origins of Fat Phobia. And it's been pretty eye-opening just about the whole. So obviously we know that BMI was created by a white man, and it was developed for white males. So it's not very inclusive of women, but it also, all of our ideas of weight kind of come from white men who are telling us what to look like. And I'm saying us, I'm not a person of color, but I am a woman, but it's all based off of what they're telling us that we have to look like. And there's not a lot of science to back it. And I just read the book. It's a really great book. I don't feel like I'm qualified to speak on it yet. But it's an excellent book, and it really is eye-opening, and I hope that more of the dietetic community reads it and becomes more aware of these racist foundations that we have as a profession, because we are telling people, we see their BMI and we're like, you need to lose weight. Like, that's what we're doing, and we're not really being open-minded about the fact that I'm a proponent of health at every size. You can be healthy at any weight. Your weight is not a fact. What am I trying to say?
like a definitive factor or like a defining
Yeah,
factor.
your weight does not define your health. It's not a behavior. So it's not something that you can just say, oh, you need to lose weight, and you can just say, okay, body, lose weight. Like, it's not a behavior. So looking at the whole person, looking at what they're doing, and not using weight to shame people.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Thank you for, I
And
don't even know about that book and so like having the conversation, and I know you said you don't feel like you're qualified, but I learned, and I'm a person of color, so I really
no.
appreciate what you're doing, and I need to look up that book. I never thought of the foundational basis of nutrition and how it affects how we practice as a field. So thank you
Yeah, you're welcome.
talking about that. That's a good
Yeah.
nugget from this interview.
I'm not like well equipped to talk about it yet. I'm still like doing my own research and like work. So like I'm not really at that level yet, but hopefully it was helpful.
I don't think anyone's ever going to be at that level, because you'll know about your own ethnicity maybe, but you won't know. There's so much diversity. It's like,
Yeah.
So switching the gears a little bit, how has being the path that you took, so you were a DTR first and now you're in your internship, has being a DTR first influenced or helped your experience in the dietetic internship? Do you feel more equipped than you think you would have if you had gone just right into it?
Absolutely, yes. Especially the work experience I got as a DTR. So I got a distance internship, which means that I have to identify my own preceptors and I have to find my own learning experiences. And that is something that I wanted because I like to control things. So it was an excellent choice for me. And so that really helped with building my network. So I was able to reach out to people. I already had a relationship with practicing dietitians. So it made it easier for me to find preceptors. And then in my internship, I really just feel like I'm practicing. I'm not obviously I'm learning things, but it's helped with my confidence level. I am comfortable talking with patients. I'm comfortable with charting. I'm comfortable with all of the information that I'm supposed to know and use. So having that comfortability with everything that I know has been extremely helpful. I think hopefully I'm not my preceptors, but hopefully it means that I'm helping more than I'm adding to their workload.
Yeah. That's always nice when you're in the internship and you're like being beneficial and not like taking away from the dietitian's work.
Yeah.
Just helps you feel important.
Yeah. Like I don't want to stress them out. I just want to get the experience.
Yeah. So when are you done with your internship?
I should be done by the middle of January. So I'm hoping to be a dietitian like as soon as possible.
Okay, so with that new credential, what is your goal or your outlook or your goals for celiac dietitian and what you're going to do as a dietitian?
Yes, I am still trying to explore what it is that I want to do. I definitely want to have a private practice and I want to see clients with celiac disease. But beyond that, I haven't done much planning. However, I will say, having been a dietetic technician registered and knowing what they are, I hope to add a DTR to my practice because I think, it's very invaluable. Yeah, it's invaluable. So those are my goals. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. You're still like working with the DTRs even as a dietitian. That's what we need.
Yeah. Loyal to the profession. I think we're highly undervalued. There's a reason why our scope is so flexible. Again, it does vary by state, but usually you can do whatever your supervising dietitian says you're confident in doing. You have this same education. MNT, so we're really highly undervalued, and I'm so surprised by how many dietitians who don't know what a DTR is.
So that kind of goes into one of the last questions I want to ask you. What has been the most challenging or frustrating or annoying thing about the DTR credential for you specifically?
Yeah, it's the fact that nobody knows what it is. like no one knows what it is. I went through the process of buying a house this year, and I had to write so many statements explaining what my field is and what my title means. They were like, dietetic technician, like, I don't think that your work is like, I don't think you've been running your business for this long. Like, I don't, like, they just did not understand my scope. So I had to like send them the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics scope for a DTR. I had to like explain to them that, yes, this is like a part of my profession. And like, just that alone, like, people just don't know who we are. And I think that that's the most frustrating part, which is why I love that you're doing this, because you're highlighting this part of the profession. I get frustrated that the Academy doesn't seem to highlight this part of the profession as much. It's one of the most accessible parts of the profession. You can become a dietetic technician with a 2-year degree. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can also you can get it with a bachelor's degree too, but especially with the master's degree requirement coming up, I am super frustrated with with the lack of promotion this part of the profession gets. And even like attending Fancy, they address the room as dietitians, but what about the dietetics in the room? You know what I mean? Like, we are here too. Like, it's so frustrating. Like, we exist. We are here to help. We're qualified. Like, why aren't we also at the forefront of their promotions? I don't know.
100% agree with that. And our first day was, I think, Diet Technician Day was in 2018.
Yes, and I don't think the Academy did that. I think that was the Diet Tech Central. They're the ones who spearheaded that effort.
I didn't know that. Oh my gosh, because the Academy jumped on that, I think, and they had some.
Oh, of course they did.
So let's wrap up here. Are there any resources that you want to share that's been beneficial in your journey?
Yes. First, the book that I mentioned, Fearing the Black Body, The Racial Origins of Fat Phobia. I think it's an excellent book to read. What else? I want to say the Academy website. Nobody told me this in my education, but they have, if you're an Academy member, you get access to their resource library. I forget what it's called exactly. Actually, the evidence analysis library. That is so helpful, especially in your dietetic internship. Just to like quickly access that if you need information about any disease state, or if you're doing any research, anything like that. Super, super valuable. And I did not know about it until like the 3rd year of my membership. So I want to highlight that. I think that's it for now. I don't know. You know what? A great resource is any dietetic intern or dietitian or dietetic technician. Like, if you have questions, your peers are excellent resources as well. Yeah. And don't be afraid to reach out.
I like that. No one has reaching out to the other dietitians and diet technicians, and I feel like our profession is such a helping profession that they're always so like, oh yeah, I'll help you. So it's a good
yeah. I've yet to find a dietitian who's not welcoming. So
same. Awesome. Anything else you want to say? Anything you want to leave us with?
I don't think so.
No, awesome. It was so awesome. I love this interview. It's so helpful. So thank you everyone for watching. Make sure you follow her, or at least look at the Instagram, Celiac Dietitian. She's doing some really awesome stuff online. So follow her on Instagram. Like this video and comment down below if this is beneficial for you. Oh, and I forgot to ask, if they want to ask you any questions or contact you, how do they get in contact with you, Tayler?
Yeah, they can reach me at the Celiac Dietitian on Instagram, and email is probably the best way because I don't really check my website contact thing often. I shouldn't admit that, but I don't. So.
Hey, brutal honesty. I love it. Awesome. Well, time.